How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. And in this series of videos, we're going to dive into Neville Goddard's Power of Awareness. Now, this is one of Neville's most popular books. In fact, this is the book that I read first when I first discovered Neville Goddard. And the way that I discovered Neville was actually through the work and the books of Dr. Wayne Dyer. It was my late grandfather who introduced me to Wayne Dyer. And in Wayne's books, in Dr. Dyer's books, he would commonly talk about a person named Neville. And I didn't really understand who this person was for the longest time. Didn't really know who he was talking about until finally, I think it was in 2014, I realized that he was talking about this mystic named Neville Goddard. And that's when I discovered the book, The Power of Awareness. And although The Power of Awareness, which we're going to dive into in just a minute here, is not a very long book, it's incredibly dense. And it was the first book that I'd read where I truly felt like every sentence mattered. Every word meant something. And I found myself intentionally slowing down to read this book. And I'd never experienced any work before, any book where I was intentionally slowing down to read the book so that I could actually comprehend every single sentence and every single word that the author was writing. That was my first experience of this. So that is actually when I fell in love with the work of Neville Goddard. And since then, I have continued to read and consume all of Neville's material. I have his complete reader sitting on my desk at all times, ready to dive in and continue reading the work of Neville. So in this video, we're going to take a look at chapter 1, called I Am. This is from his book, The Power of Awareness, the very first book that I read of Neville's. At the end of this video, I'm going to share a really simple exercise that I have created for myself, which I want to give to you that you can apply and start to practice Neville's power of assumption. So I'll get to that at the end of this video, but now we're going to dive into chapter 1 from The Power of Awareness by the one and only Neville Goddard. So here we go. Chapter 1, I Am. This is from Ephesians 5:13. It starts with, all things when they are admitted are made manifest by the light. For everything that is made manifest is light. Now, this is the excerpt from the Bible that he starts the chapter with. And then immediately in the chapter here, he goes in to break down what this means exactly. And really, this first chapter is deconstructing this statement right here. He says, the light is consciousness. Consciousness is one manifesting in legions of forms or levels of consciousness. There is no one that is not all that is. For consciousness, though expressed in an infinite series of levels, is not divisional. There is no real separation or gap in consciousness. I am cannot be divided. I may conceive myself to be a rich man, a poor man, a beggar man, or a thief, but the center of my being remains the same, regardless of the concept I hold of myself. At the center of manifestation, there is only one I am, manifesting in legions of form or concepts of itself, and I am that I am. I am is the self-definition of the absolute, the foundation on which everything rests. I am is the first cause substance. I am is the self-definition of God. And then he has an excerpt here from Exodus 3:14, says, I am hath sent me unto you. And then another one from Exodus 3:14, am that I am. And then finally from Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. I am is a feeling of permanent awareness. The very center of consciousness is the feeling of I am. I may forget who I am, where I am, what I am, but I cannot forget that I am. The awareness of being remains, regardless of the degree of forgetfulness of who, where, and what I am. I am is that which, amid unnumbered forms, is ever the same. The great discovery of cause reveals that, good or bad, man is actually the arbiter of his own fate, and that it is his concept of self that determines the world in which he lives. And his concept of himself is his reactions to life. In other words, If you are experiencing ill health, knowing the truth about cause, you cannot attribute the illness to anything other than to the particular arrangement of the basic cause substance, an arrangement which was produced by your reactions to life and is defined by your concept, I am unwell. This is why you are told, let the weak man say, I am strong. That's from Joel chapter 3, verse 10. For by his assumption, the cause substance, I am, is rearranged and must therefore manifest that which his rearrangement affirms. This principle governs every aspect of your life, be it social, financial, intellectual, or spiritual. I'll step out of the reading here. This is truly the foundation of all of Neville Goddard's work, that the original cause substance is the arrangement of your mind and is created by the concept that you hold and create of yourself. And for me, this idea was so revolutionary when I found it in 2014, first read this book, went through it for the first time. This idea that I could create a new concept of myself, a brand new self-concept. I could shift the way that I saw myself. And that was, in fact, the way to create new results and achievements in my external world. And as we see here, as we go through the power of awareness, Neville will teach over and over again in a multitude of ways that the only way to shift results and outcomes in your external world is to shift the concept you have of yourself. And that's what he goes into in some tremendous depth, especially in this book right here. Let's continue. It says, I am is that reality to which, whatever happens, we must turn for an explanation of the phenomena of life. It is I am's concept of itself that determines the form and scenery of its existence. Everything depends upon its attitude towards itself. That which it will not affirm as true of itself cannot awaken in its world. That is, your concept of yourself, such as I am strong, I am secure, I am loved, determines the world in which you live. Stepping out of the reading for a moment, I think this phrase, this sentence is so important, so rich. Your concept of yourself, if we take out the quotes here, it simply says, your concept of yourself determines the world in which you live. Just think about that phrase for a moment. Let that really sink in. The concept of yourself determines the world in which you live. The concept of yourself determines the world in which you live. So we think that we all live in the same world, and that's true. In fact, earlier on, Neville talks about how there really is no separation, but your external reality, the results you're getting in your life, the experiences that you're having in the external world are completely determined by your concept of yourself. Change the concept of yourself and you change life. Change the concept of yourself and you change the results in your external world. In other words, going back to the reading, when you say, I'm a man, I'm a father, I'm an American, you're not defining different I ams. You're defining different concepts or arrangements of the one cause substance, the one I am. Even in the phenomena of nature, if the tree were articulate, it would say, I am a tree, an apple tree, a fruitful tree. When that consciousness is the one and only reality, conceiving itself to be something good, bad, or indifferent, and becoming that which it conceived itself to be, you are free from the tyranny of second causes, free from the belief that there are causes outside of your own mind that can affect your life. In the state of consciousness of the individual is found the explanation of the phenomena of life. If man's concept of himself were different, everything in his world would be different. Let that one sink in as well. If your concept of yourself were different, everything in your world would be different. When I find statements like this from Neville's work, I love to personalize it, rewrite it in the first person. If my concept of myself were different, everything in my life would be different. If my concept of myself were different, everything in my world would be different. Let's continue with the reading. His concept of himself being what it is, everything in his world must be as it is. Thus, it is abundantly clear that there is only one I am, and you are that I am. And while I am is infinite, you, by your concept of yourself, are displaying only a limited aspect of the infinite I am. And that is chapter 1 of Neville Goddard's Power of Awareness, one of the most well-read, well-known books of all of Neville's work. And just as promised, I want to leave you with this exercise that you can use immediately tonight, right before going to sleep is actually the most powerful time to use exercises like this. And what you'll find if you really study Neville's work is that he very frequently talks about that state akin to sleep, using these techniques, applying these methods immediately before going to sleep, in that state of consciousness just before you drift off into your sleep. And here's the exercise that I want to give to you and invite you to apply and to utilize the next time you're able to. And that is to first think about something that you'd love to experience or achieve in your life in the next 3 months. So think into your future. Just use 3 months as a timeline here. Think into your future, the next 3 months, and bring to the forefront of your mind something that you'd love to achieve or experience in those next 3 months. Once you have that thing in your mind that you want to experience or achieve, I want you to create a mental image of that thing. Create the mind movie so that you can visualize what it would look like, what it would feel like and sound like if you were to experience or to achieve that thing that you wish to achieve in the next 3 months. So bring that to the forefront of your mind. Now, here's what I want you to do next. I want you to almost set that aside just for a moment. So you've got this thing that you want to achieve or experience. You've created the mental movie, that mental image. I want you to place that over here to the side. Just put it down just for a second. Now, I want you to search back in your memory over the past 3 months and find an experience or an achievement in the past 3 months that is possibly similar in scope and size to the thing that you're looking to achieve in the next 3 months. So we're going 3 months forward, identify that event, create the mental movie. Now go backwards 3 months in your mind and find an experience that you can recall that's similar in scope and size. And then I want you to get back into that feeling state of that event. So get back into that feeling state. Remember that experience. Bring it to mind. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to realize and to feel what it feels like to remember that event. Realizing that you're recalling something that happened in the past. So you've got this event that actually happened in the past 3 months. Now you've also got the event that you want to happen, the thing that you want to experience in the next 3 months. And I now want you to take that event you want to happen and I want you to put it over here so that these two events, you want to create the feeling that both these events are things that you are remembering. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this remembering your future. So taking a future event that you want to experience and gliding it into the past so that it feels that you are perceiving it as though it were a memory. Remembering your future. So you take that event, right? Here's the one that you want to, the thing you want to experience, thing you want to achieve. You're gliding it into your past. And so what I want you to practice here, this is the actual exercise, is you're going to bring up the memory that actually happened in the past 3 months. Bring that to your mind. And then I want you to simply glide into the next scene, which is the thing that you want to experience. But work to create the perception as though both events are in your past. Work to create the perception that both events are in your past. So give that a try. That's the remembering your future exercise. That's really taken from Dr. Joe Dispenza. And it's a really simple exercise. Now we're using 3 months here. You can also use 6 months, a year. But for now, let's just take 3 months. I find that it's easier to find something that I want to create or experience or achieve in the next 3 months. And when I think back 3 months, I can easily grab onto a memory that I can conjure up and bring to mind very easily. So that's it. That was chapter 1 of Neville's The Power of Awareness. I'll see you in the next video for chapter 2. Thanks for watching. See you soon.